Hi, welcome to this podcast for OCR Computing, the F451 A-level specification on data transmission. So what we're going to look at, obviously, as I've just said, is data transmission. We have different types of transmission. The first one we're going to look at is serial transmission. So let's have a little look at what serial transmission is. Well, serial transmission takes place on a single wire and it's one bit at a time that gets transferred. So as we look here, if this was our wire, one bit would be going down at a time. When would we use this? Well, we'd use this when we're sending data, obviously. An example of when we'd use it is a serial mouse. We'd usually use it, justification of use, is when there's relatively small amounts of data. The accuracy of data is important and speed is not as much of an issue. Okay? The positives are it's reliable, it's simple, and the bits can't get mixed up because they're only going down one at a time, so you couldn't have one of these bits jumping ahead of another one. Negatives of it, though, is obviously because we're only sending one bit at a time, it is slow compared to parallel. Okay, so the next type of transmission we're going to look at is parallel. Right, so if you have a look at parallel, parallel is when we have several wires, and that means several bits at a time can go down the wires. So an example that I can think of, if we just look at this, we've got several wires in it, and we've got 3 bits here going down at the same time. An example of use in this case could be, again, we're sending data, it could be a printer. Sometimes you have parallel printers. Those of you who've got a USB printer, then obviously that is not an example. But if you have a parallel printer, an old printer where you've got a wire that has several wires within it, then that's an example. The other ones that are more obvious will be the processor sending to the graphics card, the hard drive sending data to the processor, video streaming or games console sending data to the processor. Why do we use it? Well, it's faster than serial. The advantages are it's faster than serial. So when we use it when the speed of devices is required, that it sends data fast and it should receive the data quickly. The volume of data is great, and the time sensitive